For old-fashioned recipes and your gardening needs, while sipping on Kentucky bourbon. You sit right back in your big red hat, we're taking rural back from the urban. Listen to the stories where Kentucky is proud, share the giggles with all of your friends. You're all tuned in to Friends Drifting.
Welcome to episode 22 of Friends Drift In. I'm Joyce.
I'm Charlie.
And we don't know what we're talking about today, but we're going to talk.
Well, you know, we'll talk about an update on what's going on. It's the middle of the summer. We just had a bunch of rainstorms come through, so the high tunnel's doing well. We got tomatoes. We've been picking those Chef's Choice tomatoes, and we decided we didn't want to put a lot of time into moving those, so in order to get some extra money, we're just selling those out to a local produce shop, and they're doing well with those. We're selling our tomatoes. It takes a lot less time. We're not making as much money, but we got time to pursue other things.
And we have been busy, y'all. We had a show during 4th of July. We did really blessed to be home for 4th of July and to celebrate independence in our hometown, or Charlie's hometown and my adopted hometown. Always good to be among the people, and of course they were all just so tickled to be out and see everybody. Lots of back slapping, laughing, hugging, no mask.
Way it should be.
Back to some kind of normal where you feel like you're somebody, and that was a blessing. That was a blessing, and it was fun to see the fireworks. I mean, maybe I'm just a kid at heart, but I love fireworks. So that was fun, and got to sell some jam.
Yes.
That's always a plus when you've got a little bit of a cash flow coming in. We got another show coming up. By the time you see this, we will be done with it.
Right.
But we're going to Beattyville for the Moonshine
and Bourbon Show.
Moonshine and Bourbon Show. Beattyville is a little mountain town about 2.5 hours
about
from
2
us.
hours there, I guess, yeah.
But we're kind of excited to go do that. It'll be something different. They're going to have some music, and it should be fun. We've not been to Beattyville since we were in college. At least I haven't.
I don't think so.
There was the incident in Beattyville with the purple cow a long time ago, which was a dairy bar, and had to do with the wedding and being too hot and being stuck in a satin dress and nowhere to come out of that satin dress after the wedding. I won't go into any more details, but it was kind of fun.
But you know, like I say, the high tunnel's working well. We will have cucumbers next week. Again, we're a little bit late this year because we're changed our way we're doing things, but we'll have cucumbers next week. We got tomatoes now. We'll have our little cherry tomatoes should be coming in soon, and peach tomatoes. We'll talk about peach tomatoes on another show. That's an interesting.
We're looking forward to those coming up, because that was kind of when we were doing the farmers market. That was one of our signature items was peach tomatoes, and they are so cool.
They are something different. The vine crops out in the field we are running and spreading out, so
we got our beans out.
Got our beans out. They should be up. We haven't been up there in 3 or 4 days because of the show and the rain on top of that, so we'll try to run up there in the next couple of evenings. Of course, next week's show we'll be bringing you, I think we're going to do some footage on our way to a show, give you an idea of what it takes to go. We're going to do some video of driving down the road to see what it looks like going to Beattyville, and some of the things, setting up just some different things.
Talk about.
We may set it up on a time lapse or something.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of cool.
Just try something different. When you look at, we've talked about that we live in Appalachia. We live in Zone 6B, USDA Zone 6B, and it has been hot or cold. And there hasn't been any in between. I mean, it's either up in the 80s and 90s, or the nights are getting down almost in the 60s. A few nights this week in July.
We got a couple of them in the 50s in late June. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. The weather's been crazy, but we've been blessed with plenty of water.
Yes.
It's rained plenty. We have not seen a threat of flood, thank God. Our crops seem to be doing well. We are thinking about, we're already, mid to late July, we'll start doing some seeding. We'll do some seeding on some of what we're going to do for our fall crops, because we'll be putting out some maybe some bok choy and some unusual greens. There won't be anything that we'll be selling with the jams and jellies, but just stuff that it's nice to have fresh greens in the winter, y'all. And with the high tunnel and with doing little low tunnels, you know, it's so easy to do that.
Yeah, we got a lot of things we're working on. Forgot about the peppers. We got some of the most beautiful bell peppers in the
Bell
high
peppers
tunnel.
are setting on
They're
really well.
looking really good, and we're going to put those. We want to grow the red ones for our red pepper jelly, and then we're also going to do. We've got some hot peppers in. We've got some Tabascos. We've got some habaneros. We've got cayennes. We've got several different hot peppers out. We've got a couple of ghost peppers out. So we're going to make our attempt at a hot sauce this fall.
We'll see how that goes. It'll be a fermented
Fermented
project.
sauce. Yeah, we're going to actually ferment that in a bourbon barrel from one of our friends. We got some friends in the distilling business, and they're going to get us a 10-gallon bourbon barrel, and we're going to try to ferment hot sauce in it.
So take that, Ed Lee, if you're listening. Yes, we're going to do it. Then the thing, if you're a farmer and you're talking about peppers, and if you're planning for peppers, Tabascos particularly are always very, very long time in the ground.
80, 90 days.
You know, it's not unusual for us. You know, our frost date is usually around October 15th or so. Is what the USDA will tell you. It usually comes a little later than that. But it's not unusual when I have grown the Tabasco in the field. They get almost as tall as me. I'm just over 5 foot. And they get almost as tall as me, and when they bear, I mean, you can pick them by the handfuls. I mean, they bear really heavy. But because that they are such a long season for us here in 6B, I mean, there's been many times that I've had to put frost blankets on them when they're in the field. And we got most of ours. Do we have any in the field?
Yes, our Tabascos are in the field.
In the field? I couldn't remember if we put any in we didn't put any in the hot tunnel?
No Tabascos, no.
Well, y'all.
Well, the bell pepper, we wanted the red bell pepper,
We
and that's
did.
one of the
That's
things that we have a problem
really
with
important.
here, is getting a red bell pepper here in the field because of just the conditions. I mean, it's either too hot, too cold, or too wet, or too dry.
The deer
will
top
eat
out
'em.
the plants.
So, you know,
and
we may take some pictures of our plants because they look. We've got some cayennes in the high tunnel, and we've got some ghost peppers in the high tunnel, though. The ghost peppers I put in there because those are notoriously hard to grow as well. You know, and of course they're long season. They're hot.
So I haven't paid any attention to the peppers. My whole focus has been on maters.
Right.
Because that's what I love is maters.
We're growing this yellow and red stripes called Chef's Choice. It's actually a hybrid version, similar to a Mr. Stripey. But man, they are huge.
And
We'll drop a picture or two of those in. Some of them were 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds.
They've got a little bit more acidity than what you would expect from a yellow tomato. Yellow tomatoes are usually kind of mild, but this has got a little bit of zip to it. Now I like it with a little bit of mayo, but I can just hear some of my friends saying, "I throw some Zatarain's on it." I think Zatarain's would be really good on this particular tomato. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm betting that would be good.
Well, the produce stand over there bought them, and they put them out. The first batch out that morning, they sold them all by noon. So they're
calling us saying, "When are you gonna get
beautiful.
more? When are you gonna get more?
Yeah.
When are you gonna get more?" So that's a blessing. You know, we've spoken many times that we're not doing a great big garden this year, and not, you know, we've got a lot of irons in the fire, and we're just kind of.
What we try to do is get multiple revenue streams for our little farm, our little homestead. Our jam is one revenue stream. Of course, our tomatoes and some of those are another one. Again, we do a lot of different things. We got an insurance office. We've got the little gift store in there as well, selling our jam, and hopefully bringing in some more Kentucky Pride products into that as well. And then I'd also do radio and TV work in the fall and wintertime. So
we dabble in a lot.
Yeah,
of
we do a lot of
things.
different things.
So, and we didn't want to get over our head in the garden this year because we've got the jam business is really starting to kind of blossom into something that where we wanted it to be a year ago.
Yes.
Before you know what.
We're blessed. We got we just made a deal with another wholesale group. We're going to do some custom stuff for them, and could be a really big winner for us for the apple butter business. We're hoping.
Yeah, lots
of things going on.
Lots of good things going on. Looking at the national outlet, you know, just kind of the national what's going on. You know, everybody is talking about shortages.
Yes.
shortages, supply chain breakdowns. Still here in Appalachia, for home canning, there are no lids on the shelf, y'all. That they're not there. I've been to the dollar store. I've been to the regular grocery stores. You know, I bought regular home canning, not what we use for our business, but what we use just to put up for ourselves and Mama and his sister. You know, I am glad that I bought them when I saw them, because the lids are still nowhere to be found. And when we look at the flip side of that, on the wholesale side.
Yeah, they've been in and out. We ran out of jars. We went to order. They only would give me 25 dozen, which is not very many when you're doing a commercial job. I kept saying, I want 50 or I want 100. Oh, I'll take 50. Nope, they kept putting there 25. I bought 25 and then they were out of stock.
You know, when you're trying to sell jam, that's not good, and it's the time of year when produce is coming in and you want to get it done. And we had a mix-up at the kitchen, and they defrosted some of our fruit, and so we had to go on and put it up and use jars that we didn't
use at that time. Yeah, we depleted our stock. We're out. We're expecting a shipment in maybe the end of next week or that week after. So hopefully we'll get those in, get back in the kitchen and refill some of our shortages.
What kind of, where you are, what are you seeing when it comes to home canning products? Are canning jars with lids, home canning, mason jars with lids and taps and caps, going about $11 or $12 for a flat, and that's a significant increase over last year.
$8.99, $9.
$8 or $9, and we can usually pick some up on clearance at the end of the fall. There isn't going to be any clearance because they're selling out as quick as they put them in. You'll find maybe 1 or 2 flats every once in a while. We're good on home canning jars and lids right now, but certainly it has been staggering. And this is Appalachia. Everybody cans heavy. I mean, that's just kind of the culture here. But people that have never canned before are canning. And you see when you go to the produce stores, they're not buying, I'm getting a couple of tomatoes for lunch. They're buying in bulk, and they're canning. They're canning.
We were blessed last year. We were able to put up quite a few green beans, quite a bit of our tomatoes. Matter of fact, most tomatoes we may have canned since we've been canning,
Ever for home.
Yes.
For home, we put up a lot of tomatoes, and that was a blessing. And of course, that comes from the high tunnel.
Right.
If you do not have a high tunnel and you are a homesteader,
something you need to look into.
Highly encourage it, because you have control of how much water your crop is getting. You're getting it sheltered if it's too cold. You got those rolled up sides that you can help air it out. Add a fan if you need to keep the cooling right now where it's been so hot. But come, September, you can throw you some greens in there, and you can have greens by Thanksgiving.
We've been blessed enough that over the last few years we've been able to. We've had tomatoes always. One year we had tomatoes at Christmas. So we can leave those in there as long as you can.
They weren't going like gangbusters like they are now, but they were still producing.
And that's one of the things you can. And you got to look at what you're going to do. It's a great revenue stream because you can get about 2 months earlier than everybody else, and 2 months later than everybody else, because it can withstand. You can put your tomatoes out there when it's cold outside, and they'll still do well, especially tomatoes. Tomatoes are really big in the high tunnels. High tunnel tomatoes, they do well because tomatoes can handle those fluctuations in temperatures. Peppers, not quite as hardy as a tomato when it comes to that. But once you
come in there. That's been our experience. Your experience may be
different. It may be different. Of course, greens, again, you can grow greens in it all winter long. You can do put a frost blanket over them sometimes when it gets really cold. But you can control the water. You can control the fertilizer, what you want in there. You can use organic fertilizers as well. Just anything that's water soluble, put it through what they call a fertigator.
It's well worth the investment, y'all. And if you are producing commercially already, as a farmer, I mean, you may be, each state is different, but you may be able to qualify for a grant.
Yes.
That would build it, you know, put your system up. I mean, we had people come and put ours up. We were very blessed. They put it up, you know, and
you can get an NCRS grant, which was for the federal government, and some of the local conservation districts have local grants as well, and some of the universities have grants in different states and different areas. So there's a chance you could get a couple of grants to put in a high tunnel. And I've talked to people that have got a new high tunnel every year and been able to add to it by grant. And you know, that's huge, because the thing about a high tunnel, especially with tomatoes, if you want to grow tomatoes, your tomatoes are much more marketable coming out of a high tunnel, because you don't get as much bug. You're still gonna get some bugs, but you don't get near as much bug pressure. You don't get any bird pressure or any predator pressure in and on your tomatoes usually. But the thing you can do is you can control the water, and water is one of the big problems with tomatoes in the field.
That's when you get the cracking, you know, a lot of time, or the cat facing is inconsistent water.
And disease with tomatoes. Most diseases are soil borne, and they come when the rain comes, it splashes that up on the tomato plants, and that's what causes a lot of your problems.
We've been blessed with that.
We have.
As we look forward to the holidays, the winter holidays, the fall and winter holidays, we're trying to gear up and get our, you know, getting our products approved and moving forward with some new things we hope to be rolling out. If the state ever gets off the stick, they've set on a recipe for a long time, and we, you know, it just seems like we can't get that quite shook out.
Yep.
So we're working on that. Some of the other things that we're kind of looking forward to is just kind of getting the website moving. So if y'all haven't checked out our website, www.friendsdriftinn.com, you know, we do include recipes on there, as well as the ability to order our jams and jellies. Most of our jams and jellies all are Kentucky proud. We're very proud that the first ingredient in all of our fruit jams is fruit. Y'all, fruit, not sugar, fruit. We also, our pepper jams and jellies, very popular, you know, at grilling season. We're seeing a lot with the tomato jam right now. People really have picked up on the tomato jam. Grilling season, we still hope to be doing some more videos on that. We did do a grilling video back on Memorial Day. Was it Memorial Day? We did the grilling video. I'll drop a link for that. We've been very blessed to hook up and make some new connections that we're not quite ready to talk about, but we will be soon. What else we got, Charlie?
Well, you know, again, we got a lot of shows coming up. We'll be back. We're going to be in Beattyville this weekend, and in 2 weeks we'll be back in Lexington for another small show. Hopefully we'll get a lot more fall shows and maybe a couple Christmas shows coming in. So we're going to be out there trying to move our product, get our name back out amongst the people, because, you know, again, you had a year off and nobody, you know, people forget, you know how that goes. But we're going to do a lot of that kind of stuff, and we're looking forward to canning season for ourselves for the home canning. We'll be canning more tomatoes again, because even though we canned more tomatoes we ever used before, we used a lot of them this fall.
We use a lot of can. And we have this nephew that tends to like the salsa.
Yeah.
My salsa jars just disappear. I don't know what happens to them. Where
right.
do they go? So, you know, we do salsa, and we do sauce, and we do just whole tomatoes. We do lots and lots of tomatoes, but it seems like we eat an awful lot of tomatoes. So that's always, and I like doing tomatoes. Usually that's probably one of my favorite things to can. I despise y'all canning beans. Charlie will tell you I hate it. I hate the pressure canner. I'm afraid of it. But we do it, you know, we do it, and then we freeze some when we get behind. We do a little bit of both, but we're trying to whittle down those green beans in the freezer right now, so we're making room for whatever comes in this summer.
Yes.
Lots going on.
Yeah, like I say, we're always looking for new revenue streams, so a lot of that is coming from our produce off of the farm. We'll do some retail, we'll do some wholesale. Wholesale seems to be the most labor efficient, because that means you can pick it and sell it and go on about your business doing something else. Try to bring in another revenue from something else. So, you know, like I say, not as much money, but you got to look at your time that goes into it as well.
What else?
I'm thinking what else is going on. I mean, you know, we're planning for the future. We're looking at, we've got another high tunnel or greenhouse we're wanting to put up this winter, and maybe able to expand into that, maybe starting our own plants and everything, and having those up again, put those up for sale as far as another revenue stream.
And we'll be making an announcement very soon about the Appalachian Seed Swap for next spring. It's a go, y'all.
Yes,
it's
we're
a
back.
go.
Yep.
It's a go. So we're really excited about that because we had to take that, you know, what the Kentucky people said we had to do, the Kentucky government said we had to do, we did, but we did it reluctantly. And so we're going to be tickled to be telling you some about that and some of the changes that's going to be coming with that, and some of the changes that have come downtown that is going to make it even more attractive for people to come in and hang out. I don't really know anything else, Charlie.
Like I said, we're in a small town here in Pikeville, Kentucky, and we've got a lot, but the town is really trying to step up and do a lot of things. We're going to have a Hatfield and McCoy festival this year, a fall festival to celebrate that heritage of the feud and the notoriety that actually brought to this area. The feud and the movie brought a lot more brought it back. I mean, during the time that it happened and all through history, there's been people known about the Hatfield-McCoy feud, but when they came out with the movie, it really brought a lot of tourism and stuff here to us. And that's one of the things we're trying to do for this little town, because, you know, we've lost our not lost it, but our major industry has been curtailed a lot in the coal business, and we're trying to make that up with bringing in other industries and also with tourism here in the mountains. And it's a beautiful place to come and see.
It's a beautiful place to live.
It is.
It's a beautiful place to live. I love small towns.
And this one's a good little small town, and you know everybody, and everybody knows you. I mean, you know, it's just like almost, it's not quite Mayberry, but it's close.
It's close, and we're blessed. So I'm Joyce.
I'm Charlie.
We're Friends Drift In. Don't forget to check out our website for gourmet jams. Subscribe.
Yes.
Hit those buttons below, the little bell and the subscribe button. We usually are live, or we usually premiere at 9 o'clock every Sunday Eastern Standard Time. We hope to be going live soon. We just haven't had the time to get all of our ducks in a row for that, but we surely appreciate y'all coming to see us. We have an office in Pikeville, 128 Caroline Avenue. Stop by and see us Monday through Friday. We love y'all. Thank you for your time. See you next week.